Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Libby. I created this channel to share my learnings and things I enjoy in hopes to inspire others and build a high vibrational community. So thanks for being part of this community just by watching this. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my pregnancy story. I had a mostly solo pregnancy during the pandemic. And I give a big kudos to hip hop and to volunteering for helping me through that wild time in my life. I was able to get my greatest blessing, my son. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. He has opened up my heart to so much more love and joy. And as I grow into my motherhood more and more, he continues to open my heart, and I'm able to love him more and others more and life in general more. I see how precious life is, and it's just the greatest gift I could have ever experienced. But I had a really interesting journey. So I lived in Hawaii for 5 years. I worked for a corporate company, and they had a job promotion, and I had to move for it. They said you can either live in Oakland or LA. And at the time, I thought, okay, LA, I've never lived there. I used to have dreams about flying there when I used to live in Minnesota. I used to dream about just walking around there and just taking it all in and thinking about concerts and just all the people, all the energy there of people just trying to chase their dreams. I always dreamed of that. So I said, hey, I'm gonna go for it. And so the guy I was dating at the time, my son's dad, was here in Hawaii, and he said, you know what, go for it. I'll join you there. I'll get a job transfer as well, so just go for it. So I ended up moving, and he ended up not getting the job transfer that he was hoping for. So I was just kind of there, and we were trying to do the long distance thing. And I was super excited. Right when I got there, I did the Bumble Friends. I met up with about 20 women at a dinner, and we just, a couple of us kind of stuck together throughout the pandemic. And then I got to go to a Jay Dilla tribute concert at a warehouse in the middle of LA, and it was just wonderful. And then a couple days later, the pandemic hit. And so I moved to LA for this job and went to the office maybe 3 times. And then the pandemic hit. And so I was there by myself. I had a couple friends that I started kind of growing the relationships with. And mostly I just ran every day. And I didn't have a car at the time. I was in North Hollywood. And I was a little confused. And I thought, okay, I really want to go back to Hawaii. I want to be where I can jump in the ocean every day, see the stars, and just connect with the earth. It's my favorite place on earth. So I flew back to stay with my son's dad, and staying with him for a month, we realized a lot about each other and realized, we're on 2 different spectrums. When we were together for a year, we traveled, we partied, we went to a lot of concerts. There was a lot of late nights. I was tired. And staying together, I realized, our drive levels are different. I'm super driven. I wake up, I want to run, I want to work out, I want to chase my dreams, I want to put energy in places. And he's more on this chill, enjoy mode and, work out here and there. And that tends to make me feel very masculine when I work out more than a guy. And we just realized, hey, we are super good friends. We're super chill. But this relationship is not what we're looking for. So we ended it cordially. I went back to LA. I let my family know, hey, we've ended it. And so 2 months went by, and all of a sudden I didn't get my period, and I realized, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. So I was 36, and I had lived I wasn't overly cautious. I was in long-term relationships. I was with someone for 10 years, and I never had a pregnancy scare. And so I kind of just thought I never would be able to get pregnant. So I kind of lived in that way. So it was such a shock. And it was very exciting. It was like, wow, my body can create this life. This is absolutely incredible. So we had cut ties, his dad and I, so I ended up letting him know. I called him up, and he was like, wow, okay, let's do this. We're gonna let's do this. So at the time I thought, okay, I have to stay in LA for this job. I want to have insurance and health benefits for my baby, and I have really good insurance. So I thought, okay, I'll stay with this. And so his dad ended up, after about 8 months into the pregnancy, he kept trying to get a job so he could have a job that he could transfer to, and it just wasn't happening. So he ended up quitting his job and moving, and that was right towards the end of the pregnancy. But during the pregnancy, I was alone for at least like 7 months. None of my family, none of my really close friends, except for the 2 that I made from that first Bumble meeting, really saw me pregnant. You know, my friend Turtle is part of this group called the Lunar Pistols, and they did a music video. They needed someone to play a mom. And so he saw me when I was like 8 months pregnant. I was just out to here. My baby was huge. So that was really cool and unique. And, you know, I just kept running every day. I got a car. I ended up driving to the ocean every day and running every single day. And I used to drive from North Hollywood over to Venice Beach and run on the beach over there by the big skateboarding park, and just right along the ocean up into the Pacific Palisades. It's absolutely beautiful over there. And every time I would drive, I would listen to Blue in Exile, The True and Livin', Miles album. And so I would just be listening to that, and I just liked the different all the different music that they have. I love their style. I think that I have the old school vibes and bringing the new style as well. And so I just felt my baby, you know, kicking and enjoying it and loving it. So what was really cool is after the pandemic lifted, after I had my son, Fat Beats had Blue in Exile there and had an album release party. It was, you know, everybody's there with masks on, line out the door, and I had like my baby carrier with my son right there, and he was just vibing out and just loving it. And it was just really special to me that we listened to their album so many times, and there we were together live. And I just always pictured, you know, I felt like he enjoyed the music while he was in my belly, and just to be there and enjoy it together face to face, it was so special to me. So, you know, and Fat Beats is a great way to keep up with music and learn more and more about old and new as people do their vinyls. So I remember one of the scariest moments was experiencing my first earthquake by myself. So I was just in my apartment, and all of a sudden I feel this rumble, and it was all of a sudden my TV stand and everything is just shaking, and I'm just there, and it was just this, it only lasted about 30 seconds, but it felt like, you know, 5-10 minutes, and it was just crazy to just sit there with my huge belly and experience this earthquake like that. So I just wanted to share my story in case it inspires someone, or if you're going through a pregnancy alone, just know that you're not alone and that beautiful things can happen. And, you know, even though I'm not with my son's dad, we find a way to make things work. We base our relationship around the love of my son, and I couldn't imagine a more beautiful experience. And shout out to all the lovebirds who had this experience together. Can't imagine what it's like to have a baby with someone that you truly love, and raising them together. And, you know, we all have our own journey and paths, and I just make sure my son gets as much love as possible. And I do that by, you know, pursuing my passions and what I'm excited about. And, you know, there's a lot of music that he likes too that I like, and we can listen together and dance. And, you know, he is so loved by so many people, and that's just what I want to teach him. I hope he grows up to love hip hop and things as much as I do. You know, I also want to give a shout out to the Alzheimer's committee that I was on. I had started on the committee volunteering back when I lived in Hawaii. And so when I transferred to LA, the gal here said, hey, let me connect you with the lead in LA. And so the lead in LA, Rachel, is another person that, you know, was one of the only people that I met before the pandemic hit. And we stayed in touch virtually. So we had a committee of 12 people that would get on, all ages, all walks of life. And And we got to plan these fundraisers, and it was for people, you know, who were affected by Alzheimer's, who want to end the disease and find the cure so that families don't have to go through this. And bringing it back to hip hop again, what was funny is one of the committee members, who I became friends with, Katrina, she plays, I think it's flute. And, you know, she said, hey, I found you on Instagram. I found that you follow Eli. You know, do you know him? And I said, yeah, I'm a huge fan. I've been a huge fan since high school, you know, last 20 years. And she said, oh, that's my son-in-law. So he is her son-in-law. Her daughter and Eli had a baby during the pandemic about the same age as my son. So that was really cool and unique. So shout out volunteering, shout out hip hop, unity community, much love. And, you know, I hope that this story can help you in some way. And I definitely just want to share part of myself and my story in case it might help you.